My name is Patricia Baird. I serve as the program manager for the Fair Housing Center of Eastern Michigan, which is a legal practice area for legal services of Eastern Michigan. I appreciate your time today as I introduce and demonstrate the Fair Housing Tester app. And I want to tell you a couple things that I like about the app. Um, I've been doing this for a number of years, and I remember going through a series of different procedures and methodologies to gather the information. And with testers writing out the report, 8 and 9 pages reports, and it's we come a long way. So the thing I really like about the app is that there's a very small learning curve for the testers to be able to use the app, which is always helpful. The testers have the opportunity to do the app on their computer, their tablets, or their phone. And for reports, turning in the reports, we get a much quicker response. So instead of waiting a week or 10 days, we get them sometimes in a couple hours after their report, after their experience. The reports seem to be much more precise and much more detailed. And as coordinators, that's definitely what we want. And I know the attorneys like the detail as well. Testers say that they take much less time to do the report. And I did do some research on this and timed before we started using the app. And then now that we use the app, and for many of them, it's like cut in half the time that it takes them to do the report. The analysis much faster. I don't know of anybody in this room that probably likes the challenge of trying to decipher handwriting, but it's really interesting. I had one of my favorite testers who I could not read his writing, and he tested for years. It was so bad that HUD actually called me and said, "Could you help me understand what this says?" And so with this, we don't have to worry about that any longer. The other nice thing is when we do get together, the attorney, the test coordinator, and me, and we do an analysis of the experience and try to decide what we're going to do with it, if we're going to retest it or what, all the information is in one place, and we could just pull it up, and I'm going to show you that. And I think the best part of the app is the fact that everybody's happy with it. I have had no complaints from test coordinators, testers, and the attorneys. So that makes it even more wonderful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the app, and then I'm going to open up to a question and answer period. And during the question and answer period, Connie Adelsberg, our test coordinator, is actually going to help facilitate that. So during the presentation, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and Connie will be kind of monitoring this. So I appreciate your attention, and I think we should go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, can everybody see my screen? I got 2 thumbs up. That's good enough for me. 1 was even good, but I got 2. That's even better. So this tester app does much more than just doing the tester reports. And it's really exciting because we can do several things with it. And I'm going to start with the managing internal users. With the internal users, what I can do is I can actually invite people to be internal users. Let's say that I have a staff that leaves, I can take them off. If I have new staff that are coming in, I can have them added to this. And I can even change their role because, for example, I'm an administrator, and if you put it the cursor on there, you could see what types of things I have permission actually to do. Alex is also an administrator. He has this type of thing. And if it is, in fact, I'm going to go to invite a new one. So if I was inviting an attorney, I'd fill their name, their email, and these are the different things that they can actually do when I send them the invitation. If I am going to have test coordinators, these are the things that they can do. And then again, the administrator, they also have different things. Now with Stephen is one of our attorneys, and he's one of our panelists. And with him, what I did with him, I started him out as an attorney, but he shouldn't have let me know, but he let me know that he was really good at programming and writing code. And so he's been working on developing a telephone app to go be included on this. And so I changed him from an attorney and made him an organizational administrator. So let's say that I invite someone, I can resend the invitation to them if I don't hear from them. I can edit, I can delete, I can make people inactive again if they move. And then I can change their designation. And again, I will be just giving you a thumbnail sketch of all these different modules within here so you have an idea of what it can do. Next thing I want to show you is a test builder. This is something that Stephen has taken upon and he seems to be really good at it. I dabbled in it and I had fun with it, but I wasn't as efficient or proficient at it as Stephen is. And so this particular tab is where you actually can go in and you can change the questions, you can rephrase the questions, you can add new questions. And so there's a lot that goes on in the test builder. And so you can see that Stephen's been working on it and adding questions. And so this one is still under construction right now. The next thing that we have is managing the test sites. For the test site, you can see that I can sort it by municipality. So if I have a community complaint, where we have an individual that, let's say, that lives in Mount Morris or the city of Flint, I can actually go into this app and see if we've ever tested it and when we have tested it and how many times we've tested it. For example, let's say that I want to go into Vienna Township. And then I could say, oh, we tested these particular apartment complexes. These are the dates and that type of thing. So it's very helpful. The other thing that I can do is I can edit the site. So if I go to this one here, I can actually edit it. And what might happen here, a note, a bad place to live. You can actually put notes about it, or you can say that it's a senior apartment, that it's a Mishta apartment. Maybe they have been bought out and they have new owners now. You can put that information on there so you can edit the information. And so that is very, very helpful in keeping things up to date. The other thing that's really important about this particular section is we have a policy at our Fair Housing Center that once we file a complaint or there's litigation in process, that we don't test them. And so you can see that we can also put on here that this particular site is in litigation. Next, we have managing testers. And here we have a list of our testers. And this comes in handy when I want to, again, maybe test Washington Heights or a particular place. I could actually look on here and see who's tested it and see basically what they've tested. I can see who my active testers are. I can look at my inactive. And an inactive might be something as simple as that Connie's going on vacation for 3 months, lucky girl. And so I put in there that she's inactive until a certain time period. I can also invite new testers, which I'm going to show you in just a little bit. With Connie, let's say that I want to edit her profile. I can go in here. Maybe she's got a new email address. She's got a new phone number. I can do that. If she's got another type of disability or she doesn't use a cane any longer, I can actually go in and edit that as well. And we have 14 counties, so it indicates here that she will do testing in any of our 14 counties. What this is also useful for is, let's say that I have a community complaint again, and I want to look at who can I assign for this, because we like to make it mirror our client, our tester. And so I could go to active testers, I can go to gender, and let's say it's a female that is a client. So I'm going to click on here and go to female. And then my client is actually, let's say that she is 50 to 60. I could check all these. I can click on this and it's going to show me who qualifies for actually testing that particular site. If I need to know if they have a disability or not, I can actually click on that and it would say that Connie has a disability. So it's very useful in making assignments. And so I'm going to show you how to invite a new tester. For the new testers, to invite them, basically, we're going to put the tester's first and last name, their email, phone number, address, city, state, and zip code. We want to know the race. We also want to know the gender identity. We want to know if they have a disability or not, date of birth, and then comments. And if they have a disability, you get a drop down. And in the drop down, you can write what the disability is. They have a service animal, they use a walker, they have paralysis on the left side, and this type of thing. And then you can make any type of comments, for example, that they prefer only doing testing in the city of Flint and Mount Morris. And then I can send the invitation. After I send the invitation, I can actually monitor it and I can see when I've invited them. And if they haven't responded, then I can actually send another invitation. And by the way, when I'm doing this presentation, if staff that's in here, they want to add anything to what I'm saying that I may be forgetting or some useful tool that they use, please feel free to jump right in there. Next, we have reports. With the reports, we can again sort it by status. Over here, you see the status. The draft means that the tester is in the process of working on it. We have some that are submitted. We have probably a lot of them that are submitted. And we also have the opportunity, let's say that Ryan, who's the test coordinator, gets a test back and the tester actually forgot to put something on there. Or they indicated that they talked to another agent and forgot to put that on there. Ryan can actually send the report back to the tester. And when he does this, it will specifically say who sent it back, what the question is, and then the tester can get into the whole report and see it, but they can only make changes only on what is requested. After they make changes, they will send it back to Ryan. Now, one question that you might have is, how do you know when the testers actually completed their test? And what will happen is after the testers complete their test, what will happen is an email will be sent to the test coordinators, all of the test coordinators, and it will also be sent to me. We did have it so that we were having it sent to everybody on staff, but it was kind of annoying for attorneys to constantly get all these reports saying they were coming in. So you have the opportunity to be able to sort who is actually going to receive those emails. The other thing is when the tester sends the report in, you have a track of the history of it. And so on here, if you click, you have view history. It's going to tell you when the report was created and when it was submitted. If it was sent back, it's also going to have that information as well. Then you can download the new report. The particular program will actually keep track of all of the reports that were sent in for that particular site. When you get to the point where you're ready to do the analysis, of course, you want to see the reports. So you can go to download report, click on that. And you can either get it in an Excel format, which is right here. And the nice thing about Excel, you can actually set them side by side and you can do a comparison easy that way. And if you don't use the Excel format, then you can also go in and see, it should still be up here. I don't want that. And I'm going to download it as a PDF. That's not supposed to do that. Things happen. You must be patient with me. Let's try another one. Washington ones. Let's go down here and try this one. I don't know why I was doing that. Download report. Click on it.
I think what that one's going to do, Trish, is that's going to download both the PDF and the CSV file into both in a zip file.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why you're covering that issue.
Thank you. I told you he was techie. Okay, so here we have it in a PDF. I know that the attorneys and the test coordinators and even me, I prefer it in this format when I'm reading through it. But you'll see the question and then you'll see the answer. You'll see the response date. And this is a gobbledygook because I was just trying to beta test it. But that's my report,
Hey,
WDTK.
Trish,
Yeah,
Trish, we can't see it because you haven't switched the share to your
okay,
document.
hold on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, now can you see it? Okay, so on this one, you have the PDF file and it's going to give you all the relevant information up here. And this is Trish Baird. I kind of know that person. Don't pay attention to her age. She's really only 60. She's not 73 or 74, whatever it is. But it gives you where we tested, the date, the test number, and then it will give you all the responses to the questions. I know that when I do the analysis, I usually go from this one and we have an analysis sheet that we use to put down the protected testers information and then the comparisons information. Can you see my screen again now? Okay, screen sharing has stopped. Let's go back. Okay, you should be able to see my screen. You also have on the drop down an option to delete reports. Now, this doesn't happen very often. I think it's only happened a couple times in the last 2 years where we've had a new tester that they start writing a report. They write the report, they're not happy with it, and they had a lot more information to put, but yet they submitted it. And so what will happen is the tester coordinators will contact me and I, as an administrator, can actually delete that report and the tester can actually do that report over. The nice thing, again, is if with all of these, it has a historical footprint. So if we send things back and forth, it's always going to have that footprint for court purposes to show who sent it back, what they said, and that type of thing. The other thing we can do on this particular platform here is we can actually upload our analysis. So let's say that Stephen does an analysis, he has the analysis sheet, he's got the column for both testers, and then he's got his recommendation on there. He can actually upload it here. So when we're actually have our meeting, we can take a look at the two reports, we can take a look at the analysis and that type of thing. So everything's all together. We also have it backed up in our drive system and just, I guess, for purposes in case there's a snafu or a problem. So those are the different variables that I can get into as an administrator. Now I'm going to go out of it and I'm going to go in as a tester and log in. Now with the tester, I have a couple options. One of them is a training tab that I can go in and I can listen to things about fair housing. And if you choose to use this particular platform, you can add your own type of training. You don't have to use our training. You can put any type of training that you want in here. So it's an opportunity for our testers to learn more about fair housing. Then going back to the primary page, here you can see that I've been a busy girl. I have 6 tests that I'm writing up that are in progress. And let's hope that we don't have any testers that have tests open from January or even the 4th month. And so I've been delinquent evidently as a tester here. But it will show you all the ones that I have open and it will tell you how much I have completed. This one I'm at 81%, and this one here, 94, etc. So the other tab up here is reopened. These are where they actually reports have been sent back to me, and I have to go in and I have to edit them and then send them back. The last one is all the places that I've tested. And I evidently like Washington quite a bit because I have 4 of those. It was, again, just beta testing it, and that's why I have so many of them. The next thing I want to show you is new reports. So let's say that we give the tester an assignment. When we give the tester assignment, at one point we had all paper and we had to send them, and it took time to get there. Now everything. And this big part of this is due to Stephen's talent with computers. He put everything of ours on electronically. So when the test coordinators go in and they do their pre-calls, they do their profiles, they do their scripts, everything is electronically in one piece. So the testers will receive that information. They will go do their test, and then they will come in here after they're finished with their test, and they will click new report, and they will write in a test number. They'll write in a test coordinator. And then they will do a drop down and select a site, list apart, or select a date. I'm going to select a date, and I can go in here and I can say, well, it was last month, and it was on the 30th that I actually did the test. Now, here's where in our training, we need to caution the testers, and we really haven't had any testers have a problem with this because our test coordinators must have really expressed the importance of this screen. Once you click this, you can't change this information on this sheet. And so again, we tell the testers to make sure you got the right number, you got the test coordinator, everything is correct. And then they're going to push begin. When they go into this, you'll see a lot of different panels here. And the testers could do them in any order that they want to. This is actually filling out the report now. And just to give you an example, Stephen has incorporated instructions, and he's incorporated a phone test or an on-site test, and that's going to take you different avenues depending on what the tester actually clicks. I'm going to go to, here's a telephone test, but I'm going to go to on-site. Again, we have the information on just some nice tips that Stephen has incorporated. Here we have the date, and I believe it was the 28th that I did that on. If not, I apologize. And then it's going to ask me how many total agents did you speak with? And I'm going to put 1, and then it goes down. And then you're going to ask the agent's name, first name, last name, their title, their gender, their approximate age, the agent's race or ethnicity. What is your best estimate of their height? And I like that one because I'm actually 6 foot, and which my staff is laughing because I'm not. I'm 4'10", but you get your best guess in there. I like to think I'm 6 foot sometime. What is your best estimate of their weight, their hair color, and their length? It's very imperative that we have the testers give as much detail as we can, because as you know, we have had testing experiences where we sent the testers in there and they've actually had agents with the same first name. I remember having a place that had 2 agents named Penny. And so it was very confusing why I guess that was a requirement that your name had to be Penny. Does the agent wear glasses? And on and on and on. I'm not going to go over all the questions, but they're very, very detailed. And you can see how user-friendly it is by just being able to check on something. And if you check yes, you're going to get drop downs to add additional information. Where you ask for your driver's license, yes, and it gives you, again, additional. At that particular point, when you have that panel completely done, you can save as a draft if you want to go over it again or you haven't quite finished it. Because if you haven't quite finished it, it is not going to let you complete that section. And so if I go complete section, it is going to say there's no way that's going to happen. So all these things have to be answered, which is really good because the testers know they have to go back and answer those questions. So I'm going to go into save as draft at this particular point. And it's going to go back here. But we have it for questions of qualifying conversations. We have questions on availability, rental rates, terms and conditions, amenities, closing, the different type of style for closing? Did they say they were gonna call you back? Did they tell you to call? So it's, again, it's extremely thorough. Then we have the narrative. In the narrative, these are stretch boxes, so they can put in as much. And we have testers that write a lot and some that don't write maybe as much as we want to. And so they will do that, and then they have to put their signature. They can save it as a draft again, but if everything has been every section has been completed, then they can actually push complete section. And what will happen on that is they'll come back to this screen. When they get to this screen, this will be in the blue. So it will be an option where they can actually submit the report. Testers cannot get back into the report once they send it. So they can't get in there and review it. They can't make any changes. It automatically comes to us at that particular time. So that gives you basically a thumbnail sketch. I know it was a quick review, but my goal was to give you an idea of how much more that this app actually does other than just a report form for the testers. So now I'd like to move it over to our panelists and introduce our panelists. With our panelists, I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, with our panelists, we have, first of all, Stephen Sheldon. He is an attorney and he specializes in fair housing, but he does lots of other practice areas as well. And he's also excellent at coding and being my go-to man when I have a tech question saying, I don't know what to do here. Like he did earlier when you was sharing my screen and you couldn't see me. I didn't know that. Next, we have Ryan Thick. And Ryan is our one of our test coordinators. We have 3 in total. And he is also an onboarding specialist. So with Ryan, he uses the app a lot because he has to debrief them. The testers, our test coordinators actually do the analysis as well as the attorneys do. And so he's in there quite a bit and he can sort it. He can look at what testers we have, if they've tested certain places and so forth. And then we have Tom. Is Tom here?
I'm not sure if Tom is here.
I'm looking.
I don't think so. Oh, there he is. He's here.
Okay, Tom, can you share your camera, please? Tom, if you're having problems getting in or something, just put it in the chat. And Christina can help maybe with the situation. Katrina is my other go-to person. Yes. I'll introduce Tom while he's working on coming to the table here. I don't see Tom. Do you see Tom? Stephen or Ryan? Says he can't unmute.
Is he listed as Tom?
Are you listed as Tom? You can put it in the chat.
He can't unmute, he said.
I know, but he can put it in the chat if he's listed as Tom, so we can click on him and see what's going on.
We can forcibly.
Can you hear it? Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay. I'm trying to figure this out, but good, you can hear me. What did you want to know, Connie?
Can you go on camera?
I'm trying.
You're fine.
I don't see how. I don't see how to do that, Connie.
In the bottom left-hand corner, there's audio and video.
I couldn't get my tablet to work, so I'm on my phone.
That's okay. That's okay, as long as we have your voice.
Just
Okay.
touch your phone and then options will show up. Just tap your phone.
while we're waiting on that, and maybe Tom will pop in here, I want to introduce Tom. Tom is one of our best testers. He has been doing testing for a while for us, and he's probably been almost every protected class. And he's very willing to go anywhere and help us out in any way he can. In addition, Tom is also part of our steering committee. We developed a steering committee composed of attorneys, test coordinators, community players, Department of Civil Rights, and me. And he is part of that as well. So I think that even though we can't see Tom, and maybe that's best because he is a tester, we can hide his identity. We can go ahead and get started, and I want to turn it over to Connie, and you can give us if any questions that may have come up.
The first question is there a way to show updates and edits on the report? Like when you send it back to a tester to do an edit, they want to know if Robert wants to know if there's a way to show where it was edited. And I think it shows up in the report once it's edited and submitted again, is what I told him. I don't know if you can show us that on the screen, a report that was edited, but it shows up there. And then on the right drop down box, I think it shows up there too, if it was sent back a few times.
Yes, it will show, and I'm not going to click into that only for the fact that they're working on it today. The company that's actually orchestrating this behind the scenes, and I know they're working on that piece of it, so I cannot show you that. But what will happen is, again, it will be sent back to the test coordinators. They will receive an email saying that the test was it has arrived. And when you go into it and you look at the historical, yes, the answer is you can see the test on what was added and the test before it was added. And so, yes, you can keep track of that and actually see it.
And then Shay has a question. Can you assign testers a specific test report form, or will they need to select from the list of options?
You guys can jump in and answer these if you want, test coordinators.
We kind of did, and we kind of did answer it. There's one report form that they go into, and if it doesn't pertain, if the question doesn't pertain to them, you know, they don't answer it, or they just say it doesn't pertain to me. But you can adjust the report if you have the authority to, like Stephen was doing, and Trish does. You can adjust your report form to suit you. You don't have to use the report form that we made up, right, Trish? They can pay for upgrades and change it to suit how they want it to be.
Oh, you're talking about the other centers. To answer the question is, first question is, yes, the only ones that can see the changes are the person who's making the changes on the tester app, and then all of our staff. And then to answer Connie's question is, what will happen, any of the fair housing centers that want to get involved, they will only have access to their ability, you know, to what they're doing. They cannot see ours, they cannot see anyone else's. So they'll be able to orchestrate it, just like I'm showed you today that I can orchestrate everything. The admin can, and the test coordinators. And so in answer to Connie's question, you can alter it if you find that you need additional questions or you don't like our questions. You can do that. That's what the builder's for. But that takes a little bit of training, and we will provide training to you for those who sign up.
And I'll say this about that as well. It doesn't require any real programming knowledge to do that. It doesn't require any scripting. And I kind of wish it did, because it would be a lot easier, honestly, because I'd be able to cut and paste things, which it doesn't allow you to do. But it's simply just a question tree, and you have nested questions inside that depend on the answers for the first questions if you want. Once you've spent a little time in it, it's not difficult to figure out how to use it. You just have to make sure that you're keeping track of what questions you've asked that depend on what other questions. So the trickiest part of it, honestly, is making sure that you're documenting your logic in some way or another so that you don't accidentally introduce, a bug that you have to go back and fix. Because once you have to go back and fix it, then it becomes a little bit more time consuming because, like I said, there's no way to cut and paste on this. You have to go back and manually select your choices.
And I think, and Shay, you might want to jump in. She might be asking about mobile home parks, not just apartment buildings, real estate. We have other report forms other than apartments. And the tester app right now is only suited for apartments, right, Trish? It's not set up to do mobile homes and sales and lease sales.
It can do the mobile home rentals. Right
Yeah.
now, that's all it can do. We're hoping in the future that we can incorporate financial testing, real estate, and mobile homes as well.
Yeah,
So what
Connie,
we do-
that was my question. Thank you for clarifying that. I was just curious if it was outside of like a rental test report form, if you'd be able to make those selections or build out those forms specifically.
Yeah, you can build. Yeah, it just occurred to me what your question was. Yeah, so what we do is like if I'm doing a separate type of test like sales or real estate, then we just use the form and we don't use the tester app.
Okay, thank you.
But she can build it out, right, Trish, to add real estate if she wanted
Yes.
to,
Yes,
and
you can.
sales.
Other
And,
questions?
um, is there any way testers to upload audio recordings of their tests?
Well,
You know,
You
Go
can
ahead.
upload an attachment,
yeah. I was
but
gonna
if it's, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to add what's really handy is there is an attachments option. So when they do the report, they are allowed to, add any attachments, any photocopies of business cards, or anything that's handed to them, or their personal notes as well. So that's really handy because all of that will be in one place.
But I don't think it lets you add audio, does it, Stephen? Because they usually email me an audio.
Well, I mean, that's just a file, so it could be attached like anything else, I would assume. I know that within the test builder, there is one of the options is that you can attach a file, that you can upload a file. Honestly, I haven't played with that yet, so I don't know the answer to that, but I mean, it's just data. So a file is a file as far as I'm concerned. You can probably attach it. Um, you wouldn't be able to print out an audio file, obviously, but I think there's a way to attach it, but I have not really played around with that option yet in the test builder.
And then this question would probably be for Stephen or Trish on a legal mindset. What are the potential legal limits a FIP would face that joins this platform? For example, if DMFHC joins the platform and we engage in some legal situation, are there sticky legal issues that may come up?
I don't think I understand the question. That's a that's a lot of vagueness in one question. I'm not sure what exactly is being asked.
Jesus,
Yeah,
do you want to comment on that?
yeah, and I'm following some of the chat. It essentially boils down to discoverability on what is allowed, what is not allowed through this app. Because in what I'm seeing is DMFHC would not own the app necessarily. So from what I'm hearing Patricia say, we still retain the data. So only our portion of whatever data may be needed for any legal case would be discoverable, and not touch anyone else.
Well, I guess my response to that would be yes, because it's always discovered. Whether you're doing it on this or you're doing it on paper or how by email or text message, that's always going to be discovered. What we have done is we have taken some steps to make sure that when the attorneys are working on something, that we document that this is attorney-client communication or that it's work product, so that anything the attorneys do or the attorneys are talking to people about is not discoverable. But as a general discovery rule, anything between the test coordinator and the testers is always going to be discoverable. And this doesn't really have any impact on that. It would be the same if it was in paper or in any other form.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
And I'll answer this one question. They asked, has there been any issue with tester recall since testers are typing rather than writing the reports? So we always ask the testers to, once they're done with the test, to get the report in as soon as possible. Obviously, we have them take notes beforehand, and then ideally, we want to get them to get the report in within 24 hours, ideally that day. So that way, there isn't going to be the issues with the recall. We had kind of advise them to take notes afterwards as well and submit those notes as an attachment.
My experience has actually been that we get better recall because they tend to do this quicker as opposed to having to sit down and take all, fill out all the paperwork and do it by hand. This is much easier. They can, like Trish said, this is available through their phone. So they can just, as soon as they're done, they can just sit down and do it. And what we have found is, like what Ryan said, the quicker they do it, the more reliable it is. And we encourage them to do it as quickly as possible. And this makes that a lot easier because before they had to pull up, a word processor, they had to pull up a PDF or they had to do something else and then they had to save it and then they had to send it. This is all just you type it in, you hit the button and you're done.
Yeah. Well said.
And then Elaine Dungy said, how will the telephone app add on work in this program? And Ryan answered that we're using the tester app for both phone calls and on-site tests. So does that answer your question, Elaine, or do you want to elaborate on that?
Connie, no, I thought it was some sort of like phone number situation where you could use it to call landlords or agents instead of using Google Voice. But that's clear to me now that you would still use your Google Voice. And then I guess the phone app would just have different forms for a phone call kind of situation.
Okay. Thank you. And then Robert asked, is only the assigned tester who has access to editing? Yes, only the assigned tester has access to editing. We don't have access to it. We can send it back for them to edit. But
and the testers can't even see each other.
Yeah.
Which
and
is
after they submit,
by design.
Yeah.
Yeah, they only see their reports.
And after they submit, they don't have access to that anymore unless we send back certain sections to be redone.
Is there a way to run reports by, let's say, protected class, city, and a specific month?
I can answer that. That's one of the downfalls of this at this particular point. I am talking with TMP. That's the person who actually put this together, constructed it. And on the one page where it's the sites, I definitely want that added on there that we know the protected class, because I could bring up Washington Woods and it's been tested 5 times, but I don't know what the protected class is. We do have another database that we use and we have everything in Excel as well. And so that's one thing that I want to see on this particular app. We've used it for about 2 years. We started it in COVID. Obviously, COVID gave us a 2-year delay. And so I'm hoping that we could do that, but I have to get more information on that before I can say, yes, we're going to be able to add that. I don't know.
And then Robert asks, has there been any issue with tester recall since testers are typing rather than writing their reports? Maybe Tom? I don't know, or Ryan can answer that.
Can you
We already did answer that one, but it would be good to hear from Tom because Tom's the one that is actually the one that fills out the reports as a tester.
Are you there, Tom? So you could answer the question when you're typing this report in, can you get are you maintaining thoroughness because you're typing and maybe not concentrating on everything? What is your take on actually using the app?
No, I'm fine with it. It doesn't hinder me on my process. Can
Thank
you hear
you.
me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
No problem.
And then Maria asks, wouldn't all the communication through the app between the test coordinator and the tester be discoverable? We answered that, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Are you giving them written instructions on what to change in their report or narrative? Ryan, you want to answer that?
Well, when they submit it and we review it, if we see something that we need more clarity on or something that needs to be more to it, like say their narrative maybe it's too short, then we will be able to send that back and say exactly what we're looking for. So then they'll get the report back, they'll get that one section back, and then they can add to it and then resubmit it.
So you kind of just click on what sections you want them to change. And then there's a comment section where you can say, like let's say you want them to change the narrative and say, there's something missing in the narrative that I don't see. Like what order, chronological order did you ask them this or that? You can put it in comments.
And then there'll be a record of that too. So
This might have been answered already, but do the testers have access to the other tests? No, only their own. Is the app for non-recording tests?
At this particular time, we are not recording at our particular fair housing center. And so if you asking for our individual one, no, it's not being recorded in the tester app. You could use it with recordings because I know that people who use recordings, they also have to write some narrative and stuff. You could use it for a backup for that as well.
Adding the PC would be great, specifically to run reports and show measurable data. That's a comment. Can testers upload materials, business card, brochures along with the report? Ryan, you want to answer that, or Tom maybe?
which question was it?
What was
Can
that
you
again?
upload materials, business card, brochures, notes along
Oh.
with the report?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there is an attachments option, so they're going to be able to submit all of that with the report, and then it'll be easy because you'll have all of that right there. So you could download it, and it makes it a lot easier to put it into the folders.
Okay, and then Ryan, this question's for you. Might be a silly question, but is this an app that testers would download to their device, or is it a website that they would log into on their phone or a computer?
Well, it's just a web link, so they could do it right by their phone. They don't have to download nothing.
Okay, and are there plans to incorporate tester audio recordings through the app so that the audio won't get saved to their phones or need for external devices?
We're basically looking to expand this in any way we can. So if for those centers that actually go on board with us with our working agreement, we're going to be looking for some feedback from you guys too to help increase this to even make it a better tool. So we're open to any type of suggestions.
Do the coordinators' requests for clarification show up on the document or as communication that would be discoverable? Would it be better to ask tester by phone to clarify and let them go in and edit? Probably question for Stephen because it shows up on the report.
It does show up.
Yeah, and that's by design. And no, you would want to document everything that you said to them and exactly what it was you said to them, because what's going to happen on cross-examination is they're going to ask the attorney for the housing provider or whomever is going to ask. So at any point, did the test coordinator ask you to change this report? Well, yes. Well, what did they ask you to do? Well, they told you to change an answer, didn't they? Well, yes, they did. They did tell me to change an answer. And they're not going to ask the follow-up question to clarify what was changed. And then in closing, they're going to say they didn't get the result they liked, so they went back and they told their tester to change the answer. So we document everything that we say to them, and we want to be as transparent and crystal clear as we can about what happened. Because the the more transparent you are, the easier it is for you to make your case. And the more you have things that are not on the record, the easier it is for opposing counsel to put in the jury's mind or the judge's mind, well, something else happened here that they're not telling us.
And then the last question is, how much is it? And it was answered free, but costs to make edits. And then I wonder how much the editing costs, though.
Okay.
Anyone knows that?
With this one question here, it is free to use the platform that we currently have. And you also have the option to do the builder on it. That doesn't cost you anything. So as far as making the edits to the app, that is not going to cost you anything. You can design it any way that you want to. What would cost you is, let's say that you wanted TNP, the company that we use, for them to design the mobile home community form. Then that would cost you. That's something totally separate. So that would cost you.
Okay, and then Stephen answered a question about the list of sites. The tester only sees this, they just pick the site that they're testing, and that's really only the reports they see.
Yeah, and this is important for the test coordinators because we had this happen only once. The tester actually was assigned an assignment and they were given a site. They went and did the test and they came back and the test coordinator, because it was a new site, forgot to put it in the system. And so the tester's looking all over for the system, so they couldn't write the report. And so you definitely need to keep things current, but it's not that much demand. I mean, it's pretty easy to do that. I do have to close the questions for now. What we're hoping to do is maybe take some of these questions and do a question and answer sheet, because we may have some questions that we didn't get to yet. But I want to talk to you a little bit about where do we go from here, so you have an idea of what's happening. The next step is finding out who wants to do an MOU, who actually want the different centers that would like to use this app and work with this app. And then the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to have to take people on a first come, first serve basis. If it was for my opinion, I would take every center that wants to use this app. It depends on our resources and so forth. So if you're interested in it, the best thing to do is let me know. And if Connie, you could put my email in the chat, that would be great. Let me know as soon as possible if you're interested, and I will date stamp it. And so I know when you actually contacted me. I do have about 7 of you that already contacted me, and I think we have 4 that's already using it. And then the onboarding process will depend on how many we get signed up. The next phase after we get the MOUs is going to be a training where I actually go in and I give you very detailed information on how to use the app. Stephen will do the one part of it because he's so good at it, the programming part. And I will likely do the rest of it, but we'll have test coordinators there to answer questions too. So if you're interested, please contact me as soon as possible. The other thing is Connie or Christina will be putting in a link for a survey. The survey is only like 7 or 8 questions, just click on this, click on that, as an evaluation for this particular presentation, because we always like feedback. We want to make it better. But I really appreciate everybody's time, especially on a Friday, coming in. And I would like to thank my panelists and my tester, my test coordinators, and Stephen for all the help that they put into this and for all their dedication and work they do every day to make us a success at the Fair Housing Center of Eastern Michigan. So I bid you guys a good day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes.